Hi friends, in today's video I'm going to demonstrate some cute cards using our new in colors. These are our 2020-2022 in colors from Stampin' Up. So we have Bumblebee, Magenta Madness, Cinnamon Cider, Misty Moonlight, and Just Jade. These are beautiful. I'm so in love with this year's in color collection. So I'm going to put these aside. Now the stamp set I'm using is one of my very favorites from the catalog. I had to get it in one of my very first orders. It's called Today's Tiles. You can also get this with coordinating dies as a bundle, but for this video I'm just using the stamp set. I love the designs, I love the sentiments, and I have to be honest, I love the Namaste sentiment. So that is so me. So, and all the other sentiments in here are beautiful. So I'm really, really loving this stamp set. I have all kinds of techniques I'm going to be sharing with you over the next little while using this set. But today's card is just a simple one. Now I'm using our Stamparatus for this. And I'm going to pull out these two stamp images. So they're not in individual squares. It's just one layer, which is super cool. Makes it very fast to get all kinds of designs in one stamp. Now, I have a piece of 5.5 by 4 1/4 Whisper White. So I'm just going to position this onto my Stamparatus. I tend to line things up with the second notch on the top. I don't actually like butting this right up into the corner because anything that's too close to the corner doesn't tend to stamp very well. So putting down my magnet, and I'm going to get two images on one sheet, and I actually cut that pretty close, but that's okay. So one of the things that I discovered when I was making cards earlier today is, now this may have happened to you, is sometimes when you put your plate down and pick it up, it pulls the paper up with it. I find if you just barely touch the stamp to your plate, just enough to get it on there, then you can push it on and it's not gonna move the paper out of place. All right, since I have Cinnamon Cider right on top, we're gonna start with that. So just ink this right up. Okay. And stamp it down. So pretty. Now I'm going to flip this around, line it up in the same spot, and I'm not going to re-ink. I'm going to stamp right again, and this is known as second generation stamping. And I'm kind of hooked on this right now. It's not new, but you just get different strengths of your ink for your stamp, and it goes a long way. So you can see you've got the dark and you've got the light. Now I'm bringing in the next layer, the detailed layer. So I'm just going to position this right on top. And it's pretty simple to position because they have little dots in the center that you can line them up with, and I'm just going to pull that down a little bit from the edge. So now that that's all lined up, I'm going to pick this up with my plate. So I'm actually going to put another plate right on here. And again, I'm not pushing down too hard, just enough to kind of pick up that layer and then push it down so it doesn't pull up my paper. And I'm going to spin this around here. I'm going to ink this up, so this is going to be my full strength ink on top of the second generation stamping. Oh my goodness, looks so nice. Just a little bit right there in the corner. Perfect. Now I'm going to spin this one around and do the same thing. Just kind of eyeball it. Okay, and I'm going to push down. So this will be the lighter second generation stamping. So I have my light with the dark, with all the pretty patterns, and then the dark with the light in the center. So pretty. So I'm going to carry on and do that with the remaining colors. So I'm doing the last color, which is the Just Jade. I've done all the other ones. So I'm going to stamp that down. Okay. So pretty. And here is the Bumblebee. Here is the Magenta Madness, Misty Moonlight, and Cinnamon Cider. They're just so pretty. I really love these designs and I really love these colors. So now it's time to turn these into some cards. So I could cut these out with my layering square dies, but I'm just going to go ahead and cut these with my paper trimmer. So these are all cut out now into 1x1 squares. And I'm going to go ahead and do that with all the rest. Okay, so I decided as I was cutting these to actually keep some in strips. So there's one of each color in the bold image and the second generation stamped image. So I've got those set aside, and then the rest I have in squares. So for my first card, I have a piece of Whisper White. This measures 5 1/4 by 4. I have a piece of the Magenta Madness that measures 5 1/4 by 2, and I have a piece of Whisper White that measures 5 1/4 by 1 1/2. Now I'm also going to be using our Stamp and Seal for the very first time. So I took off the little cap. Let's see, I've not used this before. Get it started. Okay, it goes on really easy. I like it. So I'm just going to put that on right here. I can see I'm going to need to trim that a little bit. And then same thing here. Oh my goodness, I'm loving this adhesive. Okay, I'm going to put that on here. Okay, so I've just trimmed that little bit. And now for this card, I'm going to take one of each color. So I like that one right there. And I'm going to use all bold images. I want to make sure I have a different design for each one. So I'm going to put the magenta in the middle. It's going to go on like so. This one I have a dimensional, so I'm just going to pop that up right in the middle like so. I'm going to trim off this little bit on each side. The cards I'm making are on the fly. I'm not going to know what they look like until they're done. Now I'm going to grab a sentiment. I'm going to do just wanted to say hello. And I'm going to use the Magenta Madness to stamp this. And that's definitely bright enough. Nice new ink pad. I don't need to re-stamp that. I couldn't wait to play with all these new in color cardstocks and ink pads and stamp sets. So I thought instead of just going for it on my own, I would film it. And you guys, I have to say, I mean, you're seeing me use this new adhesive from Stampin' Up! For the first time. I'm loving it. It goes on really easy. I'm not having to push down very hard. I'm holding it just like our regular snail adhesive. And I'm just going to put that on right like that. Piece of paper for the inside. I'm just using computer paper. And bringing in my rhinestones. I'm gonna put a big one in the middle piece right there. And then I'm gonna put little ones in the centers of the ones next to it. There is my first card. I think it's really pretty and it's really, really simple. All right, for my second card, I want to use my light colored strips, and I am missing, there we go, my slider. So I'm gonna take some more of my Stampin' Seal. Now we also have Stampin' Seal Plus. Now I haven't used this one yet. This is a much more heavier stickiness to it. What's the word? This one is going to be for those 3D projects where you want to have a really, really strong adhesive. So I will be using this, just not today. So I'll move those out of the way. And let's see, I'm just gonna go ahead and put some adhesive on the blue piece, and I will probably need to trim these up a little bit. I know there's a little bit on the edge there, so that's okay. Just want to trim this up a little bit. Look how pretty that turned out. Oh my gosh, I love it. So because I have the bumblebee in the center, I'm going to use my bumblebee for my card base. Oh, I really didn't know what to expect with our new adhesive, you guys. I'm really, really loving it. Okay. So because I trimmed those off a little bit, it's off a little bit there. So I'm going to trim that down a little bit too. It's not going to be enough for anybody to really notice. All right, so for this one, I'm going to use Thanks for Being There When I Needed You Most. So I keep all these little strips when I cut my Whisper White cardstock. They are terrific when you need banners. I'm just going to use my block for this and my bumblebee. Now I'm not sure if I want this to go straight across or just a banner. I think just a banner. So I'm just gonna cut that right straight on this end. And on this end, I'm just gonna flag it. Going up the center and then from the corner in. And I'm just going to use my bone folder to add some curves. So I must tell you, it is Saturday while I'm filming this. And turkeys were on sale, so I bought a turkey yesterday and I just took it out of the oven. And I have some of my overnight bread that's been rising in the oven now. And between the turkey and the bread, I can't even begin to tell you how amazing my house smells right now. All right, Stampin' Dimensionals. Just gonna cut some in half. Oops, I don't need that big one. So I'm just gonna put one here. I actually don't need these little bits because I want them to be flush with my cards. I'm gonna put a bit of snail, it's not snail, seal on each end. And I'm not sure if I actually want that in the middle. But I actually have a little boo-boo with the ink right there. So I'm gonna put it right there. I will put it in the middle. Okay, put pushing down on that dimensional, which I forgot to take the backing off. There we go. Push that down. Oops. And then I'm just holding this up so I can push this bit down so that I can keep the curves in the banner. All right, paper for the inside. Now I did order all the ribbons that match our new in colors, but they are on back order until July 13th. So I don't have any ribbon at the moment, but that's okay because you know what? We need simple cards, and this is a beautiful simple card. And I'm going to add another rhinestone because I need to have a little bling on my cards, and I'm just going to put it right there. I'm going to fold these up a little bit. So there is card number 2. You're starting to see all the possibilities that you can do with this stamp set. Oh my goodness, and I haven't even gotten into the heat embossing ideas that I have. I'm gonna have so much fun with this stamp set. All right, let's move on to another card. I'm gonna make 5 cards, I think, so 3 more. Another piece of Whisper White. I am going to take a bold square. Love all the designs. Okay, so for this card, I've just started taking some of my tiles and I'm just going to position them onto my 5 1/4 by 4 piece. So I've started with the bold and now I'm bringing in some of the second generation and just staggering on some of the colors here. Okay, so that's how I'm going to layer them. Now I'm just going to go ahead and put them on with some of my Stampin' Seal. I'm finding sometimes I have to just start this a little bit, so I just move that forward. It works fine. And this one, because it's the same color as my card base, I want to put a dimensional on this one and pop it up. Okay, so there's my panel, and this one's popped up. So now I'm going to put this onto my card base. For this one I'm going to use I'm Blessed to Have You in My Life, which is this little guy right here, and I'm going to do a banner for this one as well. But this time I want to emboss it on some of that cinnamon cider cardstock. So I'm just taking my embossing buddy. Oops. Ink this up with Versamark. And my white embossing powder. Oh my gosh, I just spilled white embossing powder all over my desk. Okay, I will deal with that in a second. Okay, so that's nicely embossed. I'm going to clean up my embossing powder accident. Okay, so I've picked up my embossing powder plus some cat fur. So that's going to add a really cool texture to some cards. Anyways, these things happen. Okay, so you know what? I got a new punch. I say we give this a try. So in our new annual catalog on page 169, you'll see right here, the lovely labels Pick a Punch. It makes all these different labels. So cool. Haven't used it yet, so I'm excited. So it makes 2 different shapes. You've got the really, the cornered edge here and then more of the flatter top. So first thing I'm going to do is trim this piece down. I'm going to leave a little bit so I've got a handle. want to trim this down. Okay. And there's all these different grooves to slide them into, and I'm going to use this little extra decorative bit here. So it's just sliding right in. I'm going to put it in upside down so I can make sure I'm not punching through my words. I'm going to slide it up. Oh my goodness, this is so cool. Look at that. I love it. And you know what? If I cut this down, I can get the same thing on the opposite end. Make sure we're putting it in the right one. Slide it in. Whoops, make sure it's straight, which it's not. Okay, it's kind of straight. Let's see what we get. Ta-da! Look at that. Okay, my friends, you need to get this punch. You're seeing it here for the first time today. Well, the first time I'm using it, and I am in love. Okay, so now I have to figure out where I want to put this. This is so cool. Now, I could have made this label longer. I could have made it shorter. So cool. So I'm going to put that right about there. And I'm putting rhinestones on all my cards. And the raised one is going to get a bigger diamond right in the center here. So there is card number 3. Fun, 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 fun. All right, card number 4. I'm going to keep this one a bit simple. I'm just going to take, let's see. This one's gonna be a Misty Moonlight card. Forgot I have some of our new Coordinating Designer Series paper. Look. Oh my goodness. Gorgeous patterns. Okay, what do I want? I want this pattern right there. So I'm going to trim this down. Okay, let me see. No, it's too busy. Definitely that one. So I'm going to put that on here. And for this one, I'm gonna do the sentiment, everything will be okay. Put that on my card base. And I must have something on my fingers from cooking supper, because in between doing the cards, I've been going out to the kitchen. So I think I got some grease there. That wasn't part of the plan. I could leave it like that, but because I have that grease mark, I need to cover that. So I'm going to put another tile right there. So that wasn't part of the plan, but sometimes you just gotta go with it. And a big diamond for that one. Okay, so for the last card, I'm going to use some more of that Designer Series paper. I'm going to cut this down to measure 5 1/4 by 4. And I'm going to take my white piece now and measure it to 5 by 3 3/4. Okay, so for this piece, I'm using the full strength stamping. I'm going to turn it that way. Put it right there. And then the second generation stamping, exactly the same pattern. And I'm lining them up so you can see the same pattern side by side. And for this one, I want to use Namaste. I'm going to use dimensionals to put this layer on. So I could leave this card just as it is, but I've decided to take some of that same designer series paper and cut a 1 1/4 by 1 1/4 square. And I'm going to put that in the center on a diagonal, just like so. And then I have another tile, and I'm going to pop that up with the dimensional, and then a big rhinestone right in the center. And there is my finished card. I think a whole set of these done in each of the different in colors would be beautiful. So let me show you all the cards that I've made. So here's the first one that I made using the Magenta Madness with that center one popped up. Very simple, very pretty. So here's my card with the bumblebee as the card base. And then just using all the strips, and then my little curvy banner. Cinnamon cider using that awesome new punch, and again that little tile was raised up, and the Misty Moonlight card with some of the coordinating designer series paper, and then the one that I just finished using the Just Jade. I really had a great time making these cards today and using these new products, and I hope you enjoyed the 5 cards that I demonstrated with you. If you haven't already, I encourage you to hit that subscribe button, and here's a couple more videos that might interest you. Thanks for watching, and happy stamping!